how do you like the internet now? No, really, how do you like it? I was searching for, I think it was like how to hang curtains or something on the internet yesterday. And I got page after page of slop. And slop is the stuff that's AI generated web pages that just describe hanging a window curtain, but don't give you any information, but give you just like a page of something that indexes well so Google can find it. But you won't find your answer on those pages because they're just generated by AI in order to get hits, to get traffic, so the ads on the page can be seen. So yesterday, I was looking for different ways to hang a curtain in a room, and I spent maybe half an hour Googling and using other search engines to try and get some information. And it just kept going to these pages, which are they're just pages that say nothing. People in the ad tech world call them slop. I call it slop. It's just stuff that's thrown out there by companies to hopefully get clicks and attention. And now that's the internet now is mostly that. So this is going to be a show about environments and how the internet has changed. And I haven't figured it out yet, but if you have any ideas on how to punch through it or utilize it better, I'm all ears. So send me an email. The email is at the end of the episode. But anyway, here we go. Into slop world. Into the internet we go today on this week's episode of the Cannabis Goldsmith.
This is a show about jewelry, why we wear it, why it matters, how it's made, and what it means. I'm Alex D, and I turn cannabis into gold. I make mind-blowing jewelry in gold, silver, and platinum from cannabis plants here in Canada for stage, screen, for people who want to rock crazy jewelry. I'm the Cannabis Goldsmith.
I mean, it used to be that magazines and newspapers were the way to market our products or to get the word out about what we do as artists or as anybody really, as a business person trying to communicate the importance of a business to another person, or an artist. Well, this show's about art, so communicating your designs or your ideas with the public so that they might buy your art or learn about it. I mean, we used to use magazines and newspapers, and then we moved online, and we became comfortable using the internet in order to do that, putting stuff up on Instagram, for example, in order to get eyeballs that would come and follow us, and then we could hopefully sell a painting or a pot or something to these people that were following us because they're interested in what we do and they might want to buy it, right? This is the best kind of sale, is when somebody's interested in what you do and they come at you and they say, look, can you I want to buy this piece, or I want you to make me a ring, or this is the best kind of artist customer interaction, or artist appreciator interaction. This is the best way, right? When it dovetails together like this. But these days, everything has changed. Like the internet has changed. Just in the short time I've started this podcast, when we first started it, I was like, oh, AI is going to change everything. The whole internet is going to be filled up with with AI created garbage, and we're going to have to pick through that to find what we need in order to get the information we're looking for, we're going to have a harder and harder time to do that. Now, I saw that coming, and so did a lot of people. And here we are. So yesterday, I was looking for the curtain information, and I came away after a while without finding it. I saw maybe 1,000 ads, something like that, in the process. And I wound up not getting the information I needed, and I wasted my time while looking for that information. Now, what do you do when you can't find what you need on the internet because it's filled with slop, this AI generated garbage? You can think of it as the pink slime that goes into hot dogs. Like it comes extruded. It's like a pink slime that they extrude into the skins and they become hot dogs. And this is what our internet is now. It's pink slime turned solid. It's really hard to find anything these days anymore. Now, that is a problem for us as artists because nobody's going to find our stuff ever unless we advertise, unless we use the platforms, and by advertising on the platforms, this is basically the only way we're going to get reach. Now, when I talk about reach, as artists, you need to know certain terms, advertising terms as artists. Reach. Now, people will define it differently, but for us, reach is the ability to connect with, to communicate with people. That's reach. So your reach is 1,000 people. You've got 1,000 people who are interested in what you have to say, and you can reach them by email or by an ad or a radio ad, a podcast ad, a whole podcast you can reach them with. But the reach is how many people you can connect with. Now, the platforms describe reach as they have different ways of doing it, and all the ways they describe work in their favor. But for us as artists and as business people trying to punch through the slop on the internet, reach means the number of people you can connect with by email or people coming to your website. That's reach, right? That's how many people you can reach. And now that's not followers. That's something different. Followers is different. People who are following you is a different thing, because here's what's happened to the internet. It's been divvied up by these tech bros and into their platforms. So you have Facebook, they have their own walled garden, and everyone's inside that. Instagram, everybody's inside that. That's owned by Meta. That's a larger wall around the both of them. So everybody who's on those platforms are in that walled garden. And they think their reach goes outside that, but it doesn't really. Facebook, Meta doesn't want anyone leaving their platform. So they're going to keep all the virality on the platform. They're not going to send your stuff to TikTok, for example, because that's their competitor. They're going to keep it on their own platform. And so your stuff is going to be limited to that right there. So if you're advertising on Instagram and looking for virality outside of Instagram, you're not going to get it, because Instagram is not going to show it outside the walled garden. So think about that. Now you're saying, okay, Instagram is a huge market anyway. That's like millions and millions of people who I can reach with my message on Instagram. But therein is the problem, because the owners of that platform, they don't want your message going out unless you pay them to do it. So you're cut off there. So what do you do? You know, this is what I've been trying to explore now for 2 years. Okay, so I haven't been on Instagram in 2 months, because at first I started thinking, this is not working. This is stupid. And, you know, this is not, why am I spending all this time and effort creating these things for these art pieces for Instagram. And by art pieces, I mean the video of the art piece, not the actual piece itself. I create those for myself or for clients. I don't create them for Instagram. But just the idea of making a video about it and putting it up on Instagram and spending all this time designing this product, little mini product video to put up on their platform that nobody's going to see. So artists have to deal with that. What it is essentially is that the internet it's filling up with this pink slop and this kind of a hot dog without the skin. It's just being pumped in. All these tech platforms have taken all our content, all our valuable content that we've created over decades, me and other people too. And what they've done is they've repackaged packaged it as slop, and they're selling it back to us, right? So what does that mean? Like we're losing the internet as a communications tool is what that means. We've lost it, I think, already. We've lost it. It's gone. It's taken me a long time to accept that, but there it is. A dinosaur, sometimes an old dog learning new tricks, it takes a while, but sometimes, we can learn new tricks. So I've learned that the internet is absolutely fucked. It deserves some rethinking on how to use it to talk about my products. That one of the reasons I started this podcast is to talk about the idea and the ideas around this brand tribe and the jewelry we design and the reasoning behind it and why we make it and all to make a nice, rich, deep, a deep kind of a bigger idea around the core idea. I mean, that if somebody's interested in what we do, they can find the podcast. And if they want to learn about what I think about certain things, they can do that, or how we make the products, or our thinking behind the products, and our thinking about art. That might not matter to some people, but whatever, it's all there as a corpus of data that people can find and look up about us if they want to buy a product from us. Now, there's another problem there in that the people who control discovery is another important part here. Virality, discovery. There's no virality. Your post is not going to go viral in a walled garden. All the controls are held by the platform owner, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, or whoever they are. They control whether you're going to be. You work for them, basically, when you're putting your pictures up there. And they decide whether they're going to pay you or not. That's what it boils down to. But anyway, where was I? So what are you going to do when this happens? All the platforms are the same. There's discovery. Now, discovery, Google, that's Google's forte. They decide who gets discovered. When you do a Google search, they feed you what they want, and these days it'll be slop. It'll be links to slop. And that's no help to you. So how are you going to find my podcast so you can investigate what we do via the podcast? This is where we are with trying to punch through the internet using podcasts, right? Email addresses. If you want us to make you something, you have to send me an email. That's the best way. Send me an email and we can start talking about it, It's not having to go through Instagram to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to interact with my customers directly because we're a small high-end luxury jewelry designer and manufacturer. This is how we do our business. We interact directly with clients. So for us, it's important to be able to be discoverable by clients, right? And for other artists too, if you're a painter, you make paintings, you want to sell them, people need to find you. And now Google has taken that away from us. So we have fewer and fewer ways of getting our message out to potential customers. And whether, as I've said before, if we pay for it, it's still not going to reach who we want, because that's decided by these tech bro platforms. They decide. They've taken away all our agency when it comes to communications with our clients. And it's a really sad thing. And I don't know what to do about it, really. I've been thinking very hard about it, but I really don't know how to punch through. For example, okay, you could say maybe somebody needs to come out with a podcasting search engine that just searches podcasts, right? And then can direct people to podcasts about certain things. Now, if somebody built something like that, the discovery of that would be throttled by Google or Instagram or whoever. The 2 or 3 platforms that control everything, ultimately it's back to them again, Whether anyone downloads that app or uses that program or software is entirely dependent on it being discovered. And so Google could decide, no, we'd rather show pages and pages of slop to you than this. So that way you can keep coming back to our slop-filled site to try and learn about how you hang a window curtain properly, I used to love YouTube. I don't know much about it, but I always wind up there when I'm want to learn about plumbing or whatever. I'm even willing to sit through the ads, until the skip button arrives, so I can learn about, how to hang a curtain or plumbing. But if I do, and then the person says nothing to me at the end, like I don't get any value out of it, it's just slop, that is an experience that doesn't make users happy. It certainly doesn't make me happy. If I've had to sit through all this advertising to learn nothing. Now, that's what the mainstream media has become, too. It's become a slop fest, right? Anything you see on television in your morning shows is there for a reason. It's there. It's been paid. It's there. It's been paid to be there. Somebody has paid for it to be there. They've paid the network. They've paid the show. They've paid the channel. They've paid somebody for their message to be on that morning show. That's how it gets on there. There's no organic anymore. There's no virality anymore. These are all the things we have to understand as artists and as designers. Our communication strategy has to be rethought. And my brain is like, I've tried to think about it from different ways, like as an advertiser would think about it, as a customer would think about it, as an ad agency would think about it, as a platform would think about it. I'm trying to think about all the different ways I can communicate with potential customers, and I always arrive back at the same spot where it's up to Facebook or Meta or whatever they called, and Google, and there we go. And that's it. So I have to please them in order to reach my customers. Now, it used to be like that with SEO, as search engine indexing. Years ago, people would change, and even now they do it today. They change their pages, their web pages, or their online content, so it indexes better, so it gets found easier by Google. Now that doesn't matter anymore. It's up to them. It's still up to them. They can change their criteria. They can do these updates that suddenly all the people who used to get the traffic don't get it anymore. I mean, everyone is in the same boat here. It's whether you're the New York Times or whether you're some person who makes jewelry, like you're in the same boat. We're at the mercy of these platforms. We need ways to get through, and I don't know how to do it. I'm trying with audio, and at least the audio is soothing. I love making these podcasts, and I love talking about, the process of making the pieces and how I think about them and how I think about stuff in general. That's why I do this podcast. It's a pushing out of communications. It's like a radio broadcast that somebody hopefully is listening to, and they're wondering why they're not getting any likes anymore on Instagram, and they've listened to this podcast and they're starting to understand how everything has changed, and it's not just the likes on Instagram, it's the whole freaking internet that's changed, right? It's changed completely. So how are we going to deal with that? Now, in our country, Canada, here, the government's tried to regulate, design regulations and stuff to apply to these platforms. You know what? They don't care, really. They don't. I mean, Meta told them, fuck you. Told our government, fuck you. We'll leave. We'll just leave. That's it. You know, you try and tax us or regulate us, we'll just leave. We'll just block Canada. We won't have Canada anymore in Facebook. This is what they say, right? So, and they'll do it. They'll do it. They'll do it for us, but I don't think they'll do it for more than one country the size of Canada, you know? So you have to think about that if you're a government. But governments are too fucked themselves to deal with well-organized tech platforms. They're just not able to. I think basically these platforms are essentially beyond the law now. So they're huge, right? They can do what they want. So here's what I'm doing to try and punch through. I'm doing this podcast. I'm writing an article in a magazine. I know there's saying a magazine? Yeah. There's a local arts magazine where I live, in the area that I live in southeastern Ontario, and the Riviera, along the St. Lawrence River. In the area of eastern Ontario where I live, there's a fabulous arts mag called Fish Wrapper, and it comes out every month, and I have a column in it. So I'm getting the word out, talking about stuff in that. And it's not sales either. I'm not saying, oh, here, go. I'm not saying buy this amazing piece of jewelry. I'm not writing slop. I'm writing stories just about the area and stuff. And it's not a sales. I'm not trying to close the reader. I'm not trying to sell them jewelry pieces. But I am trying to tell them that I'm here and I am making amazing jewelry designs. But, you know, you don't have to buy them from me right now or ever even, but just read the column and, you know, see who I am as a person, as a designer. And you can see where the stuff comes from. It's not, I think a large part of what the artist-customer relationship is about is like, you speak to a customer and the customer connects with you, and then the piece gets to them and it fulfills that. It fulfills the whole, it's like a circular thing. It's a thing that was meant to happen. But anyway, what am I doing? Okay, so I've got a podcast. I've got a column in a local magazine. Now, you might not have a local magazine, but you will have flyers and stuff that look like little zines, maybe. Maybe somebody's putting one out to put ads in it to, you know, a local community news or whatever. Get involved in that. Start writing for that in your town. If one doesn't exist, start one up. Micro media, small media. You know, whether it's you go to the photocopy place and print some up, try it. I mean, these are all it's like, it might seem kind of sad, really, you know, that we're having to go back to the Stone Age in order to compete with these tech platforms. But we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it in order to try and connect through. Now, I want to do more stuff. I'm going to be working on books. I'm going to be publishing books on a different subject, you know, photography from a previous point in my life. But I'm hoping to put a book out within 5 years, a photo book. So we'll see. That's another media I'm trying to get out. Now, whether anyone will ever hear about that book is entirely dependent on Amazon, I suppose. So that's another platform to deal with. So here we are. We're at the mercy of these multi-billionaire owners of platforms. And if you have any ideas, like I want to hear them. I've already decided I'm going to start taking my email list more seriously. So if you send me an email, you get on my email list, and that's what you should do. Now, I don't spam the email list. I don't send out messages. I might send out one for Christmas or whatever, or if there's a new product that I'm working on that I think you might want to know about. Like, this isn't happening every day or every week. This was happening randomly, but every so often I might send you an email. That's the extent of it. So send me an email if you would like to get on our list, and that'll be a communications channel we can use. So you can learn about the latest products coming out that I'm working on now in the studio. I can give you some background photography of what's going on here. And yeah, then you'll have a connection with us that's outside the grip of the tech bro platforms. So if you're an artist and you're wondering how to punch through, how to get your stuff seen through the slop, to punch through so customers can see what you do and enjoy your work, start collecting email addresses if you aren't already, and use that as a communications channel to reach potential customers. So there's audio, there's print, and there's email. Those are the three ways that are unencumbered mostly by platform tech bros. Broistan. Tech broistan. Oh, fuck. Those fuckers. Anyway, so I know it's depressing, but that's where we are. If you have any other kind of ideas, county fairs. This we know. We know about setting up tables at county fairs, but any other way, or I'm thinking more digital communications here. If you have ways, just send me an email, and not only will you get on my list, but you might get some ideas to me about how to punch through, and I will share them with you all. Anyway, that's it for me. It's peak summer here today. I have been making jewelry designs over the last week. I'm finally starting to get leaves off these plants of the right size to make rings. So I've captured, I think so far, five leaves. And what I mean by captured is I take impressions of these live leaves and then I turn them into gold, silver, and platinum jewelry designs from cannabis leaves in precious metal. And they're absolutely unique, amazing, and full of the vibe of the cannabis plant. No cannabis, though, just precious metal. But full of the energy, vibe, and beauty of cannabis in jewelry that you can wear. So if you want to see what we do, go to tribe.ca and have a look. Send me an email and you'll get on our list and you'll get the scoop on stuff before anyone else does. So that's it for me, Alex D. Today I've got house repairs to do. I'm still trying to figure out how to hang that curtain. It's in the new studio room. I've built a studio for digital color correction, photography, and stuff. So the photography is going to be absolutely spectacular once the room is activated. It's ready now. I built a computer system to deal with the huge video files and stuff and still image files. I've painted the room a special color you need to for the color correction. Now I'm going to block the light out with this curtain that I'm learning how to hang, hopefully, if I can get through the slop. And then we'll be ready to go. The monitor will come next week, I think, and then we'll be ready to go with that in the wintertime. That room will be all ready to go. And a new studio room. So that's what I've been doing. Pretty busy. And the summer is here. These designs are coming together for Christmas, these ring designs. If you want us to start working on something for you for Christmas, send me an email. AlexD@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Anyway, that's it for me. Alex D from Slop World, the internet. See you next week.
The Cannabis Goldsmith is produced by Tribe Communications, Inc. in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario, Canada. You can see what we do at tribe.ca. Send us an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Cannabis Goldsmith.